there is a positive side of this in this county. We have so now a legacy program called the Milestones Project, which is, I want to say, a national model. A lot of communities are taking a look at it. Tim Carter, the county school superintendent, and Scott Masher, the sheriff, are intimately involved. Scott Mayberry,
Scott Mayberry retiring,
which I
Justice,
just found out the other day. It's sad to see Scott go, but Scott's been a huge driver in the Milestones. And what Milestones is, in the short time that we have, is it's focusing on intervention rather than reaction. And part of the historical issues have been these different disciplines being mental health, education, law enforcement primarily, and the disconnects in communication between those disciplines about, hey, I see John acting this way and so forth, even before you get to, hey, there's a crime committed, which is the historical point we come in, my profession, but and so we address those signs and symptoms early on. The only time we've actually formed, and the parents have to sign a waiver that allows us to communicate, because there's laws that that separate those that hinder, quite frankly, in many instances, our ability to communicate and find resolutions that would help the child or the family.
Milestones. That was my first experience with it as well. This past year, I think it was in September, we had this meeting. We had a young man who was really struggling, not necessarily with threats, but just with a lot of things. And we had concerns about maybe some crimes, maybe some mental health issues, and so on and so forth. And it was profound. Bring together Scott Mabry was there, the chief was there, Spectrum, April Rhodes from Spectrum was there, I was there, Mark. There's quite a few people sitting around this table, along with the family as well. And the results of that, with the plan that was created there, is that child is now back in school and being successful, because those interventions were recognized as being necessary very early. So you're absolutely right. The Milestones is tremendous in identifying what these kids are.
Right. The see something, say something, which is something that all of us should be doing about particularly issues like this, whether it's at the home or in the school or on the street. Is we see these behaviors that don't make sense, and that's, again, going back to the Milestones concept. It's the same thing as talking to one another, and not just, I didn't think it was a big deal. I can't tell you how many times I've heard that in my law enforcement career after something tragic happens. And talking about these things and looking for those precursor events, looking for those behaviors, and go to the Milestones. There's a Milestones website, and it'll show for the parents and relatives, you can see some of the precursor behaviors that are indicative of causing concern in this area. And for instance, the activities, you guys have already mentioned that, the lack of participation, particularly in extracurricular activities, that's a variable. Kids are not busy doing something positive. Many times they will find something.
They will
negative.
fill their back.
Find all kinds of things to do. We're out of time. Chief Gesell, thank you for coming in.
Always a pleasure.
Superintendent King,
thank you, sir.
Good to see you. Thank you
Always
very
nice.
much. That is today's Countywide. As always, thank you so much for watching and listening, and we will talk to you again next time.